So again, welcome. This webinar is being recorded. And my name is Edward Owusu, and I'm proud to serve as principal at Clarksburg High School. And yes, there is our interpreter. Ms. Grigsby, do you mind moving
Yes,
her?
I just promoted the interpreter to a panelist.
Wonderful. And so let me stop my share for one moment. At the bottom of your screen for our guests that need interpretation services, there should be a little globe that says interpretation. If you click that globe, you'll be able to use our translation services.
I need to be assigned to that as well.
I see. Okay, hold on one moment.
Mm-hmm.
Assigned to. See now. Hold on one moment. There you go. I think you are good to go. Wonderful.
She could just interpret into Spanish so that our Spanish speaking
families can use that.
Yeah.
Are you set up to go? I think she's set to go. All right. So again, if you need interpretation services from English to Spanish, just click the little globe and the interpretation will be available for you. So again, thank you for joining us this evening. And we'll just go ahead through introductions. I'll start with our Ms. Christine Oxenford. Ms. Oxenford, you want to come off mic and say hello to everybody?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Christine Oxenford, the P-Tech coordinator here at Clarksburg High School.
Thank you. Ms. Clements?
Hey everyone, I'm Rachel Clements. I'm the apps coordinator.
And Ms. Gordon?
Hi, my name is Allison Gordon. I'm an assistant principal at Clarksburg High School. And I'm going to switch over to the other language to help support.
Thank you. And Ms. Grigsby?
Good evening. My name's Shannon Grigsby, and I support the P-Tech program at Clarksburg High School, and I'm an assistant principal.
Thank you so much. So what we have tonight, I'm going to share my screen in a moment, and we're going to go through some slides and information, and you'll be able to ask questions. I believe there is going to be a Google Doc where you can ask questions as well as our Q&A. So you'll should see a Q&A button that you can also ask questions about our apps program as well as our P-Tech program. And we do actually have an FAQ in the document. So a lot of the questions will be there for you to already see and to get your answer, okay? Let me go ahead and share my screen. Hopefully you can all see that. We'll go ahead and get started. So welcome. Oops. Ms. Oxenford, do you want to take it from here?
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Owusu. We wanted to begin this evening. Welcome again. We wanted to begin by clarifying who's eligible for each of the programs that we're going to be presenting information about this evening. So there are students here whose home high school is Clarksburg, and there are students and families attending tonight whose home school is not Clarksburg. So Clarksburg High School students, you can apply for P-Tech and for apps. If Clarksburg is not your home-based school, you can apply to P-Tech, okay? And we also allow you to apply to apps. However, there are two pieces of important information about applying to apps if Clarksburg is not your home school. You would have to be admitted to P-Tech in order to also participate in apps. And also, if you decide, if you are in both those programs, and let's say your home school is Seneca Valley, and you get admitted into apps, you get admitted into P-Tech, and then you also get admitted to apps. If you decide to withdraw from P-Tech, you can't stay at Clarksburg just because you're in APS. APS does not provide protection from, or to stay at Clarksburg High School. So we'll come back to that question because that honestly is one of our most frequently asked questions. And so both Ms. Clemens and myself will come back to it through the presentation. Thank you. Next slide. And I apologize that you can't see me this evening. So as Mr. Wusu said, there's a document that you can use to record questions you have for us, and the panelists will attempt to answer those as best they can right in the document. So a link should be being put into the chat right now so that you can access the document you see on your screen. And as you come across questions you have, enter them in the question column, and you can return back to the document for answers. We also will pause a few times this evening to catch up on some of the questions that might have been asked. Next. So we'll begin with PTech. Thank you. Next. So again, I'm Christine Oxenford. I'm the proud and fortunate coordinator of this really extraordinary program here housed at Clarksburg High School. There's a lot of information to share with you. I will be posting, letting you know this ahead of time, I will be posting the presentation, and there will be the recording of this webinar that will be posted on the Clarksburg website for your reference at a later time. I would like to start with a little bit of context and background. PTech is an international educational model designed to enhance college and career readiness. There are many wonderful high school programs in MCPS and many opportunities for students to earn college credits in high school. But what differentiates PTech from some of the other programs and opportunities is the emphasis on career readiness and workforce development. All PTech schools aspire to graduate students who've attained not just the academic knowledge in a particular field, but the skills and competencies that translate directly into competitive careers right out of high school, should students choose to go into the workforce right out of high school. As a PTech graduate, students can certainly go on to four-year institutions, but they will be prepared to go directly into the workforce. And so you'll see throughout this presentation multiple references to that development of workplace skills. There are many PTech schools all over the world, actually. In the state of Maryland, I believe we have 6 PTech schools, and each PTech school has a different career focus. Some focus on things like hospitality or healthcare or transportation. But here at Clarksburg, our PTech pathway, or our focus area, is in the IT field. Students are earning an Associates of Applied Science in Cloud Computing and Networking Technology. We launched the program in the summer of 2018, so we are now in our 4th year. And our first cohort that started back in 2018, they are now seniors. And so we're really excited to be graduating approximately 40 students with their associate's degree in May. So we can take a look at the design principles that are on the screen. There are 6 design principles for this program. So it's about, number 1, partnership between our high school, Montgomery College, and our industry partners, which are Daily Computers and Data Prize. Second principle is around curriculum. So there's in any PTech school, there's a unique blend of high school and college coursework, all geared towards making the academic work of high school and college meaningful, as it directly is tied to and applicable to a career field. Their curriculum leads to a degree that makes students marketable and hireable. The third concept or principle is workplace experiences, and these are an incredibly important part of the program. We aim to fully prepare students with the workplace skills required by employers. We want students to be marketable and hireable, as I said, and confident when they enter the workforce. So these are extremely important experiences that are woven in throughout the program. Moving on to number 4, open enrollment. So this really means open access. You'll see that there are no academic requirements for entry into this program, and we support students throughout the program. And this principle of open enrollment aligns with MCPS's goal of access and equity for all students. And if I had to choose my favorite principle, it would be this one. This principle supports our school system's vision of all means all. So P-TECH is a program for all students. Number 5, cost-free. This may be parents' favorite principle, and I get that. So in support of the above principle of access, this program P-TECH is completely free, which allows all students, regardless of their economic situation, access to the same educational opportunities. And when I say cost-free, it's really cost-free. Everything: tuition, fees, textbooks, transportation, field trips, our summer bridge program, absolutely everything. And lastly, there's a principle about first in line job status. And so when our industry partners agree to be partners, they are committing to putting our students first when it comes to filling vacancies in their companies. Next slide, please.
Ms. Oxenford, before we go on to the next slide, the Q&A document, it just needs to be changed.
So I made a copy and I put a new Q&A document into the chat, so families can just transition to the new one that I put in the chat. Yep.
Got it. Thank you so much.
Apologize. Thank you. All right, so what does P-TECH stand for? It stands for Pathways in Technology, Early College, High School. I thought it was important for you to know what it stands for. Next slide. All right, so we're going to begin with some overview or the components of the program. So P-TECH is a dual enrollment program. Students are getting their high school diploma and their Associate of Applied Science degree at the same time. The degree itself, as I mentioned earlier, is in cloud computing and networking technology with our partner, the Montgomery College Germantown campus. Students in P-TECH can complete this program in 4, 5, or 6 years. They must complete the high school graduation requirements by the end of the 4th year, but they can use years 5 and 6 to complete the college components, and those are still paid for. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, there's no cost to this program. Next slide. Work-based learning is a large emphasis in this program. There's mentorship opportunities, job shadowing. We have a paid internship the summer before senior year. Students have the opportunity to earn industry certifications and advanced technical skills, which prepares them for a career. And of course, as I said, first in line job status for job consideration with our industry partners. Next. Summer Bridge is a component of this program. So students should know that the summer before each grade, they will participate in a summer program. Grades 9, 10, and 11, the activities in the program take place at Clarksburg High School. We do things like field trips and lots of classroom activities, team building. There's some enrichment opportunities. And then the summer before grade 12, the students do a 6-week paid internship. Next. The next couple slides are just going to show you some photos of some of the activities we've done over the last 3 years. The last year and a half, of course, we were a little bit limited, as you know, but I'll show you some of the exciting things that the students have been able to do. So the first couple pictures are from our Summer Bridge program. These are some activities the students did at Montgomery College with some Ethernet cabling and some programming of Raspberry Pis. Some robotics activities at Montgomery College. Daily Computers, one of our industry partners, held a welcome breakfast and a tour for us. The students also had a meet and greet with the mentors that are serving in our program. These are some pictures from the mentor program back here at our school. That was our kickoff ceremony, where the students were paired with their individual mentors. and some of the activities they did at the kickoff event. During Summer Bridge, we took some field trips. One of them was strictly for team building between our 9th and 10th graders. These are some of the activities they participated in. Additional activities, plus we did a student panel where the 9th graders, asked questions of our 10th graders to really transition them into the school. And then some of the robotics programming we did back at school during Summer Bridge. And some of the perks, as I might say, are we try to really provide the students with enrichment experiences. So we've had guest speakers, taken several field trips. They did a career symposium. They did the Association of Old Crows Symposium in Washington, DC. Some of our students signed up for a cyber forensics challenge. So there have been many opportunities for the students in the program so far. So I'm going to pause and let you hear directly from the students who are now seniors in our program.
Hi everyone, my name is Ravi Singh and I'm currently a senior in the P-Tech program at Clarksburg High School. For those of you who are thinking about joining this program, I think you should definitely go for it because personally, my experience has been amazing academically and socially.
So around 4 years ago, I joined P-Tech as an out-of-area student because I was interested in technology, the certifications exam, and the free college degree that we could get.
Our journey began with taking our first technology class, Network Operations, with our teacher, Mr. James. Our 10th grade year, we took our first college class. Our 11th grade year, we took a combination of both high school and college classes. In our current year, we are taking all college classes to wrap up our degree in network and cloud computing.
Sure. But let's say you don't want to earn a tech degree, you want to follow a different pathway. That is completely fine because of what your P-Tech knowledge, you can still benefit for the majority of pathways that you want to take.
So P-Tech is an amazing program because it lets you graduate high school with an associate's degree. This lets you either get a job straight out of high school or lets you transfer your credits to a 4-year institution.
After nearly 4 years now in P-Tech, I can confidently say that I've come to enjoy the family-like community, the academic support, and the professional development from the program.
Socially, I've met so many amazing people in this program that I would love to keep connections with in the future, and we're all just kind of like a big happy family. And
we even were interns for either IBM or Daily, which are both really big companies, and we were all supporting each other, not just us, but other P-Tech people from other schools around the world too.
This program also requires you to have an internship, so this summer before your senior year, you get to network with a bunch of professionals and gain a lot of experience.
the field trips that we take part in, the summer bridge activities are so fun, and I definitely think that there's so many opportunities that come your way when you join this program, and definitely look forward to it and keep your mind open to all these possibilities and hope you join.
Whether you know a lot about technology or a little bit, I definitely recommend this program because it is a great experience.
Other than education though, I've also met some really cool, really nice, amazing people from P-Tech. I feel like we're just one big family because of how much we care and support for each other.
I can confidently say that this is one of the best decisions you can make so far at your life.
We've taken so many college level courses that have really helped us build our transcript and help us become better students in general because of how rigorous the courses are.
So I really hope you enjoyed this P-Tech experience like I did as well. Thank you.
Thank you for listening, and I hope you consider joining the P-Tech program.
Thank you, students. I get choked up. I'm just so proud of those guys. Okay, so to move on to some of the kind of really important aspects of the program requirements. So in P-Tech, we have a very strict academic course sequence. And I think this is one of the biggest things you need to understand. So there's very little flexibility. And so as you know, students will be earning their high school diploma and an associate's degree simultaneously in 4 years, and there's no room in their schedule to explore other wonderful programs that we have here at Clarksburg. There's just no space in their schedules. And that's one of the questions I get frequently from students as they progress through. They're in 10th grade or 11th grade, and they're saying, oh, can I take AP Psych? Can I take, AP Environmental Science? And the answer is no, because there's just no room in their schedule. So that's one of the biggest things to really understand. So as wonderful as the program is, it's limited because you're earning both those degrees simultaneously. Rigor increases as students progress through the program. So the first year is very standard. Their 9th grade schedule is very similar to any 9th grader. But beginning in their 10th grade year, they start their first college class, and then the rigor really increases as they move through. Location of classes, this is important as well. So in grades 9 and 10, students take all their classes at Clarksburg. So even the 10th grade college class, that's held here at Clarksburg. But in 11th grade, their classes are split. Half of them are here at the high school, and then they take a school bus over to Montgomery College, and they take their college classes over on the college campus. And then in grade 12, all of the classes are at Montgomery College. So that's an important piece of information, because there are some students who would not want to leave the Clarksburg High School campus. They want to stay here. So it's important to understand that the college classes will be at Germantown, Montgomery College, starting in 11th grade. And the last point there is just to anticipate change. There's always changes. The state makes new requirements. The college changes the course degree requirements. And so things do change, but we do make it work so that students still graduate. But some of the things I say today may change by the time your child's in 12th grade. Next. So when I say pathway, I'm referring to the course sequence, and we have developed several documents. These will be accessible to you when I post this presentation. You can click on these images and you'll be able to look very closely at all the courses that are part of the pathway. And as I said, it's a very strict pathway, not flexible. So you can see exactly which classes students take each year, each semester. I think that's it for that slide. Additionally, I have a document that you'll be able to access that lists the titles of all of the Montgomery College courses, because on the previous slide, the pathway document just says things like NWIT 130 or NWIT 200, and you might not know what those courses are. So this document really shows you exactly the courses that are in the pathway. And one other thing I'd like to mention is that this is a degree in cloud computing and networking technology. And some students go into the program thinking it's a computer science associate's degree and that they'll be programming and coding, but that is not true. There is one scripting class at the college level, or maybe two, but it's really a networking and cloud computing degree. Next. So what you see now is the typical schedule for a 9th grader in the P-TECH program. And as I mentioned earlier, it doesn't look very different from a typical Clarksburg 9th grade student. So the students will take English and math and biology and history, a full year of PE, and then they take Foundations of Computer Science, which is a full year course. And then they take half a year or one semester of college test prep and one semester of health. The one note I want to make about Foundations of Computer Science, many students, more and more students, I should say, come into Clarksburg already having taken Foundations of Computer Science in 8th grade or IED, Intro to Engineering Design. So either of those two classes, if a student has taken those Foundations of Computer Science or IED in 8th grade, then in 9th grade, they do have a slot in their schedule, which allows for an elective of their choice. So this is the one spot in our pathway where there is a little bit of flexibility if you have taken one of those classes. So I'm going to pause for a moment and ask if there's something in the document that any of the panelists weren't able to answer, want me to answer so far.
Yep, I can read some to you. How long is the summer bridge each summer?
Great question. It's varied from between 5 and 8 days each summer, depending on what activities we're able to secure. We decide on how long it's going to be. So maximum is 8 days, and they're only half-day programs. So 9th graders come in the morning, 10th graders in the afternoon, except for the day that we do the big field trip with both of them. That's a full day.
Are you going to review how to apply for the program by the end of the presentation?
Yes, I will.
Okay. Are the summer bridge programs mandatory?
It's an expectation that students attend. If there is a conflict, I ask that students' parents reach out to me.
Okay. Is this considered a magnet program?
That is an excellent question. We get put in the umbrella of magnets in terms of transportation. You'll find our bus transportation information under magnet schools, but I don't know if what the criteria is to be considered a magnet. I can throw that back to Mr. Wusu.
This is actually not considered a magnet because you don't have to test into it. It's a lottery program. And so do you want to explain the lottery, how that kind of, or maybe we'll talk about that later.
Yes, I'll be talking about that when I talk about the application. Any other questions right now?
Yeah, there was one last one. What's the percentage of P-Tech students from outside the Clarksburg cluster? And then there was another question about the percentage of female students.
Great questions. Originally, the program was about 1/3 of the students were from out of area and 2/3 were from Clarksburg. There was a ratio in the lottery algorithm, but I don't know if that has changed. I believe there had been talk about it changing, but I don't know for sure.
It is still 1/3 out and 2/3 within the Clarksburg area. So it's still the same ratio.
Thank you. And the second question was, females. The first cohort was about 60-40, and I just did the data the other day, and it's now about 70-30, so 70% male, 30% females from the group that from our current 9th grade. So females, we need you. All right, should we move forward?
Yep, go ahead. Thank you, Ms. Oxenford.
Okay, thank you. So moving into the actual application process. So this is a regional program housed at Clarksburg's. It's open to students from any of the schools you see on the screen. So we have 9 schools that are eligible to participate and apply to P-Tech. As Mr. Wusu just mentioned, it's an interest-based, so it's not a magnet program. It's an interest-based program. There are no academic requirements and no academic requirements. It's open access, as mentioned earlier. The only entry point is in 9th grade. So if you want to participate, you must apply when you're in 8th grade for your 9th grade year. You cannot join later, in 10th grade or 11th grade. And each year there are 64 seats available. So students and parents will be notified on or about October 5th of eligibility for all the various high school programs. So each student gets something called a program eligibility letter in the portal, I believe, and it lists every possible program that your student is eligible for. And P-Tech will be on that letter. Then there'll be what they're calling the high school common app. And so the common app will be accessible in parent view on or about October 8th. And the student simply fills that out, and the parent, I guess. And they need to complete that and have it submitted by November 5th. There's something I wanted to mention. What was that? I apologize. Maybe it'll come back to me. MCPS will send out a Connect Ed that details this application process for all of the high school application programs, but this is the basic idea. So you'll get notified on October 5th. You have to apply by November 5th. And for the P-Tech portion, there, like we said, it's just a lottery. So you're simply putting in your name and that you're interested. You don't have an essay. You don't have to submit transcripts or grades. It's a lottery. Next. So after you apply, this is what you can anticipate happening. So the lottery itself will be conducted sometime in December or early January. That's handled by the Division of Consortia Choice and Application Program Services, also called DCAPS. I have nothing to do with the lottery. Mr. Owusu has nothing to do with the lottery. DCAPS handles that, and then they send me the list of students whose names were chosen. So students will receive notification letters. So everyone who applies will get a letter. The letter will, and it's an email, and it will say you're either invited or they'll provide you with your wait list number. So there are 64 seats. So if you have a wait list number of 65, 70, there's a high chance that you will still be offered an invitation, because there are students who choose other programs over PTech. And so they'll decline their invitation and the waitlisted students will be invited. If you receive an invitation, one of the original 64, those students get invited to a invited students meeting, and that's held on February 15th. Students have to make a decision by the end of February. And so by the end of February, the 64 students who were invited will make their decision, and based on the number of acceptances, the waitlisted students begin to be contacted, and that's on a rolling basis. And from my experience now, this takes a while. So I know parents will email me, asking about, where do things stand? And honestly, it just depends how quickly people make their decisions, and how quickly it fills up. So every year though, I'm still filling the last seats off the wait list, usually in June, July, and sometimes even August, because somebody will move in the middle of the summer and the seat will open up and we'll contact the next person. So my advice, if this is the program for you and you end up on the wait list, is to really monitor your email frequently. They allow 3 days to respond. So if you are invited off a wait list, you only have 3 days to accept that seat. They'll just move on to the next person. And so we have lost a few students who will contact me a couple, weeks after they receive something, and can I still get in? But their seat was offered to someone else. And so just monitor your email. Next. If there's anyone in the audience who's currently in a private school, you are eligible to apply to PTech, but you need to contact your local middle school to obtain a MCPS ID and work with the middle school registrar to assist you with the application process. I'll pause again for questions. I have more to present, but if there's anything pressing.
I can ask a few more questions, Ms. Oxenford. This course is not about coding and all that. What are students going to be studying?
So the degree is an Associates of Applied Science in Cloud Computing and Networking Technology. So cloud computing is a heavy emphasis, as well as networking. So networking computers together. The certifications that they're eligible to earn are their A+ and Net+, which I have some of that information on an upcoming slide. So it's really like computer technician. That's what the coursework prepares them for. So some cloud computing and network technician content.
Okay, and is the college test prep course for those certifications, is that to support students?
The college test prep course is to support them in showing that they are college career ready for entry into the college classes, and I have a slide about that.
Perfect. And then another big one is, how are students with 504s or IEPs supported at MC, the college level classes?
Great question. At the college level, if a student has a 504 or an IEP here in MCPS, those are only good for K through 12 schools, not for colleges. So students have to apply to the college they can contact the Disability Support Services Center at Montgomery College to see what, if any, accommodations they would be eligible for. But if you have a 504 or an IEP here at MCPS, it is not transferred over to the college.
Okay. And another big one is, what's the difference between cloud computing and computer science?
So I honestly do not know what a full computer science degree would be, for example, at like University of Maryland, but students that I've spoken to who have pursued that at like a 4-year degree in computer science do a lot of, they will also touch on in a 4-year degree in computer science. There'll be some networking and some cloud computing, but there'll also be a lot of programming. And programming is really not part of this degree, the Cloud Computing and Networking Technology Associate's degree through PTech.
Thank you, Ms. Oxenford.
Thank you. Okay, so moving on.
And then Ms. Grigsby or Ms. Gordon, do you mind dropping into the chat the Google Doc link?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you. Sorry.
Okay, so I'm going to go through some frequently asked questions. Are there prerequisite courses for PTech that you're supposed to be taking right now as an 8th grade student? The answer is no. Everyone can begin in 9th grade with the pathway. Can you withdraw from PTech? Absolutely. We're not going to force anybody to stay if they find it's not their interest. However, if Clarksburg is not your home school and you withdraw from PTech, you have to return to your home school. Is transportation provided for the students who are out of area? And so I call out of area anybody whose homeschool is not Clarksburg. We just call that out of area. And so yes, transportation is provided. However, it is from central stops, and students and families need to understand that. A central stop is a school within an area. So for example, Seneca Valley, if that's your home school, one of the central stops is for that area is Clemente. So the parents are responsible for getting the child to Clemente to take the bus to Clarksburg and back. And another important piece to note is that transportation is just for the regular school day. So there's no activity buses available for the out of area students to ride home from Clarksburg. Industry certifications. So the 2 industry certifications that students are eligible to earn and that we hope that all of our students earn are the A+, the CompTIA A+, the CompTIA Net+. And as you can see, those are equivalent to a entry-level computer technician or an entry-level network technician. So why do we have students take college test prep in grade 9? So to be eligible for the college courses that begin in grade 10, students have to have a 2.75, and I'll explain that on another slide as well, but they have to have a 2.75 GPA, and they also have to be considered what we call college and career ready to place into the college courses. And students show that they're college career ready by taking the AccuPlacer and the ALEX placement tests. And the college test prep class helps prepare students for the AccuPlacer and the ALEX so that they score into the college class. Are there requirements for staying in the program? So once you're in, how do you stay in? You must obviously enroll in and pass all the courses in that pathway that I shared with you. And to enroll in any of the college courses that are slated for whatever the upcoming semester is. So if it's fall right now and we're scheduling the college courses for the spring, the students to be eligible for those spring classes, they need a 2.75 GPA, and they need to have reached the assessment level for whatever the courses are that are upcoming. Can students who receive special education or ESOL services participate in PTech? Yes, but depending on the student's IEP or ELL plan, they may need to utilize the 5 or 6 year pathway to be able to complete all the college programs. So some students have special courses on their IEP, and so they can't fit in one of our courses, and so it just might take them longer. So I get this question a lot about if students continue on, so they decide that they're not going to go right into the workforce and they want to go to a 4-year school, parents ask me, like, what is their admission status? Are they freshmen? Are they transfer students? So the answer is that it really depends on how they apply to college. So you can apply to college as a freshman with advanced standing, or you can apply as a transfer student. The recommendation has been that students apply as freshmen because they are eligible with that status. They're eligible for housing and scholarships that are designated for just first-year students. So that has been the recommendation. And even the Maryland Commission of Higher Education has recommended that students do that, because there are a lot of programs in the state and in the country, really, that more and more programs are like this, where students are earning a lot of college credits before they graduate. And so everyone has really transitioned to still asking them to apply as freshmen with advanced standing. I also get this question that does the associate's degree in cloud computing count as the first 2 years of a particular 4-year degree? I think what people want to know is, if I finish this degree, can I go off to University of Maryland and just have to do 2 years of school and bam, I've got my 4-year bachelor's? And it doesn't work exactly like that. This degree is an Associate of Applied Science degree. So it's considered a terminal degree. It's intended for career readiness, expecting people who earn this degree to go out and work in the workforce. So it's not, it doesn't serve as the first 2 years of a specific 4-year degree. However, many of the credits are transferable. So it's not, if you earn this P-Tech degree, you will have 60 credits, many of which would transfer to a 4-year institution. You might have noticed that world language is not part of the P-Tech pathway. And people ask, isn't that, a graduation requirement? No, it's not.
Oxenford, I'm sorry, can you please wait one moment? There was an issue in the question saying, can you all please stop for one moment in the typing, and I'm going to get the questions and answers back. Thank you.
Tell me what you need me to do.
You just need.
You can go ahead and keep going. I just need everyone to stop typing in the question Q&A page so that way I can get it back up.
Got it. Okay, so world language is not in the P-Tech pathway, and it is not a graduation requirement. To graduate from high school, students must have what's called a completer program, and there are several ways to satisfy that completer program. One of them is the world language avenue, where they take world language and electives. Another one is taking 2 credits of advanced technology and 2.5 credits of electives. But the third option is for students to complete what's called a program of study, and P-Tech satisfies the program of study. Specifically, the students must take NetOps 1, NetOps 2, and NWIT 105, the Intro to Cloud Computing course at MC. It's those 3 courses that satisfy the graduation requirement of the program of study for P-Tech. If you move out of Clarksburg, can you still stay in P-Tech? Yes. So if you move and your new school is in Olney, and maybe you go to Sherwood, or that would be your school, you can still stay at Clarksburg and stay in P-Tech, but parents would then be responsible for transportation. If you leave the county, then and you're in Frederick or another state, then no, you can't stay in P-Tech. If you move locally to another one of our catchment zone schools, so one of the 9 schools on that list originally, then you would still be able to stay in P-Tech and have transportation. The question about P-Tech and apps. So let's try to get this straight. P-Tech students whose home high school is Clarksburg, you can apply to apps, and you're going to be hearing about that program. And if accepted, you can begin participating in both programs in grade 9. So if your home high school is not Clarksburg, we are still permitting you to apply to apps. If you're accepted into P-Tech through the lottery, then students who are now considered P-Tech, if they were also accepted in the apps program, they may participate in it. Okay. However, if a student were to withdraw from P-Tech, and that's the reason they're here at Clarksburg. Clarksburg isn't their home school. They're only here for P-TECH. If they withdraw from P-TECH, they can't stay at Clarksburg just to continue in the apps program. And then it's also important to note students who participate in both programs will have a slightly different program requirement. Ms. Clements is going to talk about the requirements for apps and what the apps program looks like. But for P-TECH students, they simply can't meet the same, or they can't do the 6 AP classes she'll be discussing because they have so many college classes. They just can't fit 6 AP classes into their schedule. So they'll do 3 AP classes and 3 dual enrollment classes as their requirement. Next. Summer Bridge, just some points about what we do. First, the dates have not yet been set, but they're usually, or we're sticking to the end of July is typically when we hold it. There's field trips to set up and so forth, so that it's difficult to get the dates now. But if you are accepted into the program, you will, and you come to the February invited students meeting, I will have the dates at that meeting. It's, as I mentioned, 5 to 8 days, half-day program. And I think I've talked about most of what's there. We do quite a few things in field trips. There is no fee for Summer Bridge. We do serve breakfast and lunch. One thing to note is transportation is not provided for Summer Bridge. Any questions? This might be the end. Can you go to one more slide? Am I at the end? Yeah, so yeah, if there are other questions, feel free to contact me directly. There's my email address, office line, and then again, this presentation and the recording will be posted on our website, and you can see in the quick links image there on our website, we have, you can go directly to the apps or P-TECH program from the quick links. Any questions in the chat or on the document that you want me to answer? And if not, we'll transition to Ms. Clements.
Ms. Oxford, why don't we transition to Ms. Clements, and then you can just jump into the document and look at some of the questions and answer them there.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Ms. Clements, it's your turn.
Can you, oh, you must have an older presentation than me. That's fine. So my name is Rachel Clements. I am the apps coordinator. I am very blessed to have been at Clarksburg since it opened. I spent most of my career teaching students in the apps program and have moved on to be the apps coordinator. I'm very fortunate to be in this position. The apps program is Clarksburg's signature program. It does span 4 years of high school. It is college preparatory. Most of the classes that the students take are AP classes, which is getting them ready for college. Students also can take honors classes, they can take electives. It's such a supportive environment that I put it on there twice. That's how supportive it is. And it's very flexible to meet student interests. So unlike P-TECH, where the students are focused on a specific pathway, apps allows the students to take courses that they are interested in and follow a course of study that follows their passions. Can you go to the next slide, Mr. Owusu? So just really quickly about what kinds of students are usually app students. They're usually students in middle school who are already really motivated to do hard work. They excel at time management and can balance a rigorous course load with extracurricular activities. Generally, they have A's and B's in middle school. They're usually very sensitive to calendar deadlines. They can work independently. They show curiosity and they love learning. This is a picture of one of our former app students. Sienna Williams went on to graduate from Clarksburg and is at MIT right now. I know there were a lot of questions about where students go after they leave Clarksburg. So some apps advantages. There are some student testimonials later on in this presentation. And you'll notice that a lot of the students talk about being in a community of learners that they have similarities with. And they're referring to this cohort that we put students in when they're in the apps program in 9th and 10th grade. And essentially that means when students are in English, science, and social studies in 9th and 10th grade, their courses are made up of other students who are in the apps program. And I think the students, I mean, they may not articulate that they're in a cohort, but I think they recognize and appreciate the fact that they're with like-minded students in their classes. Obviously, the students are taking AP classes. We're giving them support through those AP classes. We have the opportunity to earn college credit while taking those AP classes. There's other opportunities for extended learning experiences, such as field trips and guest speakers. And there's always the potential for formal recognition by the College Board as an AP scholar. Mr. Owusu. This slide is just in here to show you some of the colleges and universities that our students attend. There are, I think, almost every Ivy League university is on there. Last year, we had an app student attend Yale University on a completely full scholarship. So that was pretty impressive and exciting for us. Mr. Thank you so much. The apps requirements. So this is by the time a student graduates within the apps program as a senior, these are the requirements that they need to have fulfilled. So they need to complete 6 AP classes and their corresponding exams. They need to attend 2 apps opportunities per semester. That could be guest speakers, that could be workshops, that could be field trips. We've taken field trips to museums, to movie theaters, where we've interacted with college professors who teach at Georgetown about specific novels. The students need to maintain a 3.5 unweighted GPA. I'm talking. Okay. My son lost a tooth. No, I didn't. It's exciting. They need to maintain a 3.5 unweighted GPA and also a 3.0 in their AP classes. And finally, as a senior, they complete a capstone project that we refer to as the Senior Showcase. And I'm going to show you some examples of that from last year. So during the student's senior year, they do perform this showcase. Last year was our first year doing the showcase, and unfortunately we were virtual, so all of our showcase presentations were online. But we're hoping this year to move to an in-person showcase presentation, kind of like the one pictured, where students would have an actual physical board. Thank you. Would have an actual physical board that they would present. The students can get their ideas or their topic of choice from their showcase from anything that they want. They can, you know, we're going to have a lot of guest speakers, which we'll talk about in just a minute. We'll go on field trips. They could be inspired by something they do in class. But by the time they're a senior, we're hoping that they have something that they're passionate about that they can give a presentation on. We expect students to spend about 20 to 30 hours. And now my dog is whining. This is the best ever. We're expecting the students to spend about 20 or 30 hours on researching their presentation and working on it. And I'll show you some examples of student work that looks like that. So here, I think I have 3 full slides of showcase samples from last year. Some of the students did very project-based learning. So the picture on the bottom, one of the students created bee houses for some of the native insects at a lake in the area because he was committed to preserving insects and pollinators. It was a really interesting project. The one above that, we had a student do her presentation on antibiotic resistance. That was a little bit more research-based. She didn't go into a lab and do anything with antibiotics. Hers was much more research-based. The one on the right is a student who created a piece of artwork, and it was juried into an exhibition, and she won an award for it. So the thing that I like the best about the apps program is it really does allow the students to have quite a bit of flexibility in what it is that they want to study and what they're interested in. Mr. Owusu? Here's a few more examples. One of our students kind of spearheaded our Black History Month assembly last year and did such a fantastic job that he used that as his app showcase, kind of demonstrating the steps that he had to go through to pull together such a large project like that, what he had to do to work with people. We had a student do extensive research on maternal mortality in the United States and how it affects minorities more than white women. We had a student do a project on the effects of climate change, and a student recreated a culturally significant meal for her. Mr. Owusu. And Mr. Owusu, you're going to need to click on, yep, each name of the student, and it's going to pop up in a vidyard if you could play that for us.
Hi, I'm Sam and I'm a junior. The APPS program is a great program to join because it provides you with a lot of opportunities to accomplish your goals. You can get college and high school credits done in high school, and it also helps you realize like who you want to be and what you want to do when you grow up. And it gives you a lot of opportunities, such as going to guest speakers and meeting people from around the world, and they tell you what steps you can take to move towards your career path. And overall, it really helps you find who you want to be.
Hi, my name is Sage. I'm a junior. What I love about the APPS program is that you are put together with kids who are just as engaged in subjects as you are, and you get to use your intelligence and knowledge to, make it a better class, have a better experience on learning, etc.
Hello, my name is Matthew Kiviat, and I am a high school junior within the Clarksburg APPS program. And I love the APPS program as it provides students the opportunity to take rigorous classes, but also the ability to connect with many students who share similar interests. Another added benefit of the APPS program is a variety of guest speaker activities for many different career paths that you get to experience throughout the school year. And because of this, I would urge any upcoming ninth grader to join the APPS program. You have a great high school experience.
Thanks, Mr. Owusu. So if you could go back for just a minute. I entered a slide, but I don't think it made it to the final cut. I just wanted to share with you guys some of the guest speakers that we have planned for this year. A lot of the students mentioned that's one of the highlights of the program for them. So actually tomorrow we have a guest speaker who's based in Vienna, Austria, who works for a non-government organization. In November, we have a cybersecurity analyst coming in. In December, we have an aerospace engineer coming in who also writes science fiction as a published author. In January, we have someone coming in who works for Facebook. In February, we have a public health scientist coming in. Some of our previous notable speakers last year, we had Joe Biden's social media coordinator come in and speak. We've had a family law attorney, we had a biochemist come in and speak, and we've had several artists from the Smithsonian come in and speak. So like I said before, it's very flexible. We try to cover a wide range of topics and opportunities for students. So the APPS program is a lot more flexible as far as what students can take. There's no pathway that students must take. This is a typical schedule for a ninth grader. Again, they would be cohorted in their social studies, English, and science class. So you can see those at the top. They would take whatever math is appropriate for them at that point in time. And then they would have their 3 elective choices: world language, tech, health, PE, music, and arts, whatever they need to fulfill their graduation requirements. And then in 10th grade, the same thing, they would be with their cohort of students in social studies, English, and science. Many students in 10th grade will take 1 or 2 AP classes and 3 APPS honors classes. Again, their appropriate math, and then whatever elective courses they need to fulfill their graduation requirements. And then in 11th grade, the students are no longer cohorted with the APPS students, because usually at that point they start specializing in what sorts of courses they want to take most. So we have some students who pursue a lot of AP science courses. We have some students who pursue a lot of AP social studies courses. So the course of studies just opens up so broadly at that point that students are no longer cohorted. In addition, students may be involved in other pathways such as P-TECH, which you've already heard about, or they may pick up internships that could be arranged by the school. This is just explaining that students can be involved in other pathways and be in the APPS program. So I know that Ms. Oxenford just talked a long time about P-TECH. Students could also be in the Academy of Health Professionals, which is also run through Clarksburg High School. They could choose any of these pathways that would work well with the APPS program. So in order to apply, this is a screenshot of Clarksburg High School's website. I'm also going to put the application in the chat for you guys because you happily attended this meeting this evening. It'll be on the Clarksburg webpage. The application window opens tomorrow. It's the same, it's almost exactly the same window as P-TECH. It opens tomorrow and it closes on November 4th. Unlike P-TECH, however, it is an application. You can go ahead and move forward. It is an application-based program that does take into consideration students' GPA, their MAP-R score, teacher recommendations, and the students also have to submit an essay as part of their application. So when you look at the application, it's going to have this front panel on it that tells you all of the components of the application. Mr. Owusu, the biggest part of the application, there you go. That's what it looks like. It's several pages long. On that page right there, it's showing you the essay choices that students can respond to. They're going to respond to one essay, not both. And then the students also need to ask teachers for recommendations, which is step 3. And then they also need to send this Google form to their counselor in order for the counselor to let me know what the student's GPA is and also what their MAP-R score is. Unfortunately, I don't think I can send it directly to your email because you're currently not parents of students that I teach, but it is available to you on the school's website, and I will put the link to the application in here. So back to the slides. I recommend that students write their response to the essay component of the application before diving into the application because you kind of need to do the application in one shot. So step 1 would be for students to draft a response to the essay component of the application. And then step 2, you can go ahead and click on that, Mr. Owusu. This is what the application looks like to the students. It has several components. So you would just, Mr. Owusu looks like he's applying right now. He would enter his email and it would take him through several steps to write his name. One of the most important questions in there that's new this year is to tell me if you are also applying to the P-TECH program. So you'll see that as you go through there, Mr. Owusu, you don't have to be a fake student and go through there. Why only MAP-R and not MAP-M? We have found that students' reading scores are a better indicator of their success in the APPS program, and also because students can come from such a wide variety of math programs. That's why we look at their reading score, not their math score. In addition, the first AP classes that they take are much more reading based. So step 3, students should select 3 current teachers to ask for recommendations and send them this Google form. It looks like this. If you'll note on the teacher recommendation form, although the application for the students is due on November 4th, the teachers have until December to complete their recommendations. And that will give them more time to get to know your students since we've only been in school for about 6 weeks. And then step 4, a very similar looking Google form that you will send out to your counselor to ask them for your GPA and your MAP-R score. Again, this is not due from counselors until December 4th. We do ask the students for a writing sample. There's an example of what the writing sample looks like on the application. And it is a social studies based writing sample. And the reason for that is the first AP class that the students take in their cohort is an AP social studies class. It's also a data point that we have since the students take a standardized 8th grade history test. So that's why we start off with a social studies writing sample. Here's the app's application timeline. Tomorrow, the application window opens. You can start applying. On November 4th, the applications are due from the students. Unfortunately, my middle box got cut off, but reports from teachers and counselors are due on December 4th. January 28th, which is about the same time that you should be hearing from P-TECH and other magnet programs, students will be notified of the decision regarding their admittance into the APPS program. The only caveat to that is if Clarksburg is not your home school, we're going to withhold your decision from the APPS program until we know you've gotten into the P-TECH program. So I'll communicate with Ms. Oxenford and find out, who got into the P-TECH program, who accepted the P-TECH program, and that we'll let you know your status in the APPS program. And then similarly to the other special programs, you'll be expected to fill out a commitment form and let us know which program you've decided on, which school you've decided on, and things of that nature. So again, I know we've touched on this a lot, but I just wanted to make sure it's really clear. The question is, can I apply to the APPS program if CHS is not my home school? And the short answer is no, but also kind of if you get into the P-TECH program. So if your child is accepted to P-TECH, then their application to the APPS program will be considered. Acceptance into the APPS program is contingent upon being selected for P-TECH if CHS is not your home school. So the only way you can be in the APPS program if CHS is not your home school is if you're simultaneously in the P-TECH program. There is no limit to the number of APPS students who are accepted to the program every year. And as such, there is also not a wait list for students to get into the APPS program. Students are more than welcome to have an internship and be in the APPS program. We have many students who have done this before. Again, the really great thing about the APPS program is it's completely flexible to meet the needs and the desires of the students. Again, can you be in another program at the same time as APPS? Yes, we have many students who are in the medical program, who are in child development program, who are in P-TECH program. The biggest difference is that for P-TECH, because their pathway is so rigid, students will have to take 3 AP classes at Clarksburg, and then the 3 college classes at Montgomery College will count as their 6 AP courses. Yes, students can do APPS and P-TECH at the same time. There are many students who are currently in both programs. Just answering questions from the chat. Any other questions you guys see popping out that I can answer quickly?
Big one right now, Ms. Clements, is if for letters of recommendations, do they have to be from 8th grade teachers, or can they be from 6th or 7th grade teachers as well?
They have to be from 8th grade teachers. And it's not the 8th grade teacher doesn't have to write a letter, it's a form. And again, and then if they're applying when they're in 9th grade, the document just says that it has to be their current teachers. And again, we're giving teachers, I mean, I'm also a teacher. I know that it would be difficult for me to give my students a recommendation at this point, but we're going to give teachers that buffer until December to get those recommendations in, because we know it is difficult for them to really get to know their students at this point.
I'm going to stop the share. I know we do have many questions in the, I have another computer looking at it in the Google Doc, and we will obviously make that available for a couple days so that way we can answer as many questions as possible in the school doc. And this becomes a Q&A that people can refer back to it because some of the questions are being asked multiple times. As well, this information is being recorded, and as Ms. Oxenford said, and I think you're still there, Ms. Oxenford, we will post this on our website, and the application for the PTEC program also becomes live. I think Ms. Clemens said that tomorrow. Is that correct, Ms. Oxenford?
The PTEC application?
Yes.
No, that will not be available until Common App will be accessible October 8th.
Okay. Or 2 weeks. Or a little bit, 1 week, actually. So got it. Thank you very much. So PTEC, I'm sorry, apps will be available tomorrow. PTEC will be available October 8th.
And I believe Ms. Grigsby put the apps application in the chat.
Excellent. Okay. And so I know there are a lot more questions, and I know there will be questions as we go through this process. Ultimately, bottom line is Clarksburg is a wonderful school because that's what you're actually getting into. So yes, we do have these fantastic programs, and as Ms. Clemens shared, there's many, many programs within the school. But what makes Clarksburg so special are the students and the staff, and that's what really is what we're about. And 4 years from now will take care of itself. We just want to get our students in, get them acclimated to the school and the community, and into that rigorous instruction that we do have at the school. As you do have questions, as I'm sure you will, you can reach out to Ms. Clements, you can reach out to Ms. Oxenford. Information is on our school website as well as in this presentation for you to have. And again, that'll be on our website. I'm not able to send it out to families because I don't have your email addresses. So we do want you to be able to access it. So just go to the Clarksburg website and get that information. But with that said, it is 8:13, and I do want to allow our staff to get back to getting ready for school tomorrow because we do have school tomorrow. So we do appreciate everyone coming out tonight, and thank you. Have a wonderful evening. Bye. Good night, everyone. I'm going to stop the recording. Thank you to our interpreter as well.